Thou shalt not be afraid of food. And no, I don't have an eating disorder, but I do have chronic gut issues which have been flaring up more than usual this year. And when you're reacting to more foods than usual and having more digestive symptoms, it can really make you overly wary of food, to the point you start limiting, even subconsciously, the variety of foods you eat because you just want to avoid discomfort, which is super understandable, very human, but it is a slippery slope. And I try to be on top of those thoughts as soon as they appear because I take my positive relationship to food and eating really seriously, and I think you should too. It's a lifelong relationship that we gotta nurture and take care of. And just by being a human on planet E, I think that relationship is pretty hard. So add chronic gut issues into the mix and I see you. I'm really excited to be working again with someone on my gut health who I think understands all of that. And this week of eating, I was writing down everything that I ate that week to give my practitioner a bit of an overview of what my diet looks like. And it's not my favourite activity. So this is me filming it for a bit of distraction and not get in my head too much about it. Other goals for this week were to try some new foods because I'm trying to slowly expand my diet a bit more, challenge some of those low FODMAP foods I'd maybe just written off a bit in times gone by, do some lower histamine food swaps where I can because I'm learning that histamine is something that my body is not having a great time at breaking down at the moment. And of course I'm just gonna try and be kind to myself while I'm doing the best that I can amongst energy affecting chronic illness and neurodivergence affecting my bandwidth and food preferences. So on Saturday I had some prepped buckwheat porridge which I added some millet meal, vanilla protein powder and soy milk to. I heated that up in my new microwave, added some chopped banana and had that with a heavily salted boiled egg. I've been really enjoying this porridge combination recently. It's very creamy and just perfect for chilly mornings. For a mid-morning snack, I made some potato mochi for the first time using leftover mashed potatoes and potato starch. I made this in my waffle maker for like optimal surface area crunch, and this was phenomenal. Definitely will be my go-to way of using up leftover mashed potatoes in future. I had it with a little teriyaki sauce and Kewpie, and it was one of the most delicious things I've eaten all year. Then I prepped a veggie lasagna for dinner, which was an impossible minced tomato sauce, mashed potato, sauteed veggies, and pesto tofu ricotta topping combination, the recipe to which is on my website. I also prepped 2 breakfast burritos because now I have a microwave. I'm like, I can do this now. One was for lunch and one was to freeze to reheat later. Freezing slows histamine buildup in food, which is really handy. And now that I have a microwave, I have an easier effort way of reheating meals quite simply. So I made cheesy scrambled eggs, sauteed some veggies, added the potato mochi, and added a little avo and Tabasco to the one that I ate immediately. I adore a breakfast burrito and am very excited to make them more often. The lasagna for dinner was wonderful. Probably could have cooked it for a bit longer, but yeah. And I had these dark chocolate rice cakes for dessert. On Sunday, I had some leftover buttered jasmine kale rice with a boiled egg on top with some vanilla protein powder in coconut almond milk heated up in the microwave so it tasted a little bit like a white hot chocolate. I used frozen kale in the rice instead of frozen spinach, which is another super easy lower histamine food swap, and this was so yum. I love rice for breakfast, although I do tend to eat it really fast and need to remind myself to slow down so I don't get like heartburn. That morning I steamed some potatoes in the microwave following Tim Anderson's instructions in his microwave book that I borrowed from the library. This was thrillingly simple for someone who hasn't grown up with a microwave. I also prepped the elements of a spiced tofu and cauliflower dish with herbed coconut yogurt raita, which we'd have the following evening. I had a snack of coconut peanut butter on a date. I've been avoiding dates for years for low FODMAP reasons and have been retesting them recently. Digestive and enjoyment results are mixed. I had leftover lasagna for lunch with a little fennel cabbage dill slaw, I think, that my mum had bought. And then I tried my first microwave steamed cake situation with pecans and chocolate, adapting another Tim Anderson recipe to be vegan and gluten-free. The cake itself was okay, but with some chocolate chia pudding and peanut butter, it was fabulous. On to dinner, I mashed the interiors of the cooled potatoes with seasonings like green onions, dill, vegan cheese, mustard, and restuffed that mixture back into their skins, and we had those with salmon and peas. Monday's breakfast was similar to the day before, just with plain leftover jasmine rice this time. Had one of these koja bars while running errands, then came back and reheated that frozen breakfast burrito I'd made on the weekend for lunch, which wasn't soggy at all. I was impressed. I prepped some more buckwheat porridge that evening with just buckwheat kernels, coconut milk, almond milk, chia seeds and water, which I then put in an ice cube tray to freeze in more like manageable portions that I can easily defrost each morning. And for dinner I made that dish I'd prepped the night before. It's like a gentle curry adjacent dish of spiced tofu and cauliflower with greens, and I serve it with buttered jasmine rice and a coconut yogurt mint cucumber situation, recipe on my website. And I was testing wheat Bix cookies this week, which you'll see a lot of. In this first trial, I took a wrong turn. They're not meant to look like that, but these did taste delicious nonetheless. Tuesday's breakfast was the same porridge deal, paired this time with a scrambled egg. I transferred those frozen porridge cubes into a Ziploc bag, and doing this totally made me want to get those super cube like molds to freeze more meal elements. This could be addicting. I had some snacks while out that morning, and for lunch I made a tuna and cheese toastie on gluten-free bread. For dinner I was going to make some caramelized soy and ginger tempeh with this tempeh mince, but only when I started cooking did I realise that the tempeh contained gluten and wheat because of soy sauce added, which felt entirely unnecessary. So I pivoted to just making caramelized soy and ginger greens instead, which I served over some meal prepped congee along with an egg, green onions and sesame seeds. And then I had chocolate chia pudding with coconut peanut butter again for dessert. Wednesday's breakfast was the same porridge situation. I sipped a decaf coffee with soy milk while I made a slice from my cookbook I Want Dopamine for dinner to take as afternoon tea to work. This is an almond frangipane and raspberry slice, one of my favourites and pride and joys. I had an early lunch bowl with some leftover salmon, sugar snaps, peas. That leftover ginger soy sauce I made for the congee was simple but not easy to digest and filling. The slice went down really well, everyone liked it, and they polished it all off. Yes. I ate a wheat Bix cookie on the drive home as a bit of a dopamine reward after work, and my mum had made these Thai-style salmon patties with steamed bok choy and sugar snaps for dinner, which was really nice of her, and I had a small piece of slice that I made for dessert. Thursday I had egg salad on toast with a small bowl of porridge for breakfast. I had a leftover salmon patty and a protein bar mid-morning for a snack, and then 2 sushi hand rolls for lunch. I shot the finished wheat Bix choc chip cookie recipe that afternoon, which will be on my website at the end of this month. They're maybe the simplest vegan gluten-free cookies I've ever made, and they're super nostalgic from the wheat Bix. The texture is awesome. My mum made vegetable minestrone that evening for dinner, and I had that with 2 slices of toast with the fancy cultured vegan butter I have. Friday I was running out of steam a bit. There's always a 48-hour hangover for me from work. I had porridge with a scrambled egg for breakfast, then a mid-morning snack of half an avocado because sometimes you're just craving some healthy fats. I don't know. I caught up with a friend that morning and we shared a decaf tea with soy milk and some of the baked goods I'd made that week. Lunch was store-bought veggie sushi and some tofu miso soup. Then for dinner I made this Asian-style cabbage slaw with a slaw mix, extra cabbage, spring onion, mint, dill and celery leaves. Not too many are a great addition, and a Vietnamese-style dressing which we have with gluten-free calamari, which is always a crowd pleaser when people are staying. And that was everything I ate this week. I'll put any links to recipes featured in this video in the description box, and I wish you all the best and understanding with writing out whatever made you click on this video, whatever your body or life is throwing at you, which is making eating a little bit more difficult. Sending lots of kindness and self-compassion, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.